at the evolution that is taking place around us, there is a pattern that we can recognize, and this is identified by the Russian economist, Mr. Kondratyev, in his long wave theories. What it says is that every 50 years there's been a major innovation that drives the global economy in a very big way. And we have seen, and as human beings, people have lived through, human beings have lived through evolution in the era of steam engines in the 1970s that it took place, and then steel, the railways, the automobile evolution that happened in the 1940s, and since the 90s, we are now in the information technology era, where the information technology and the data is driving the global economy. And we're right in the middle of that evolution. So what we can learn from these is that the change is a constant, and there's been a new innovation that constantly is being taking place. There is a recognizable pattern that we all need to understand. And from this, we can actually take a look at what's actually taken place in the last 20 years while we are in the information technology evolution. So this is the picture that you see here. The two photographs taken in the Pope convocation, where the Pope addresses the people in Rome. The one is taken in 2005, the other one is 2013. If you look at it, the people are pretty much the same type of people, same place, but there's a very noticeable difference in people's behavior. In 2005, everybody is listening to what the Pope is saying, whereas in 2013, people are taking pictures in their smartphones, mobile phones, pads, and they're taking videos and updating people all around the world immediately as things are happening. So there's a very noticeable difference in the behavior of people. What drives this change? So if you analyze this, the answer is that it is the advent of internet, it's mobile technologies, mobile internet, smartphones, and also social media. So these are the types of changes that actually have taken place that are driving the behavioral changes in the people. So what is around the corner for us in the next 20 years or so? What really drives us? What drives fundamentally, I think, is in the what we call as the digitization and intelligence technologies that are shaping up. So digitization is a process in which you use the data model to display the information in the physical world, right? And that information can be the location-based information, or human information, medical information, or automobile process-related information. Whatever is there in the physical, you actually digitize it and make sure it's available in a format that you can see very well and interpret it. Intelligence is a process in which you take a digital information, analyze it, process it using computers, and then feed that back into the actual processes and the living things that are happening around us. So that's where you develop actionable insights. You know more about customer, or you actually do the manufacturing, development, or delivery more accurately. So you provide more valuable services. That is the real result of what we call as intelligence, or intelligent world that we are going to be getting into. So in a lot of sense, digitization has already been taking place, and in the next 20 years, there's going to be a lot more of intelligence that we are going to see. So when in the earlier days, in the information technology era, you actually used to see people going to libraries or government offices and using the name of digitization. They used to scan all the documents, put that all into the machine, and call that as a digitalization process, right? And so that you can, digitally do your work. But it is going much beyond that, where they're actually going through a process where they're using the human intelligence and combining that with machine intelligence to make a lot more smarter systems that can automatically give you whether it's the information or products or the processes or the apps that are relevant for you. So that is the power of digitalization and the real intelligence that we are going to see in the coming days and years. So what are the trends that are driving these types of changes that we are going to see? So one of the significant trends that you can actually notice is that internet is one of the fundamental elements that is changing people's mindset. So I'll give you an example. Many of you may not be aware of a bank called China Mobile Bank. It's now a very popular big bank. They started in 1987, and when they started, there was a huge banks around them. Whether it's the Bank of China or I'm just talking in the region of China. So they had to, as a startup, they had to compete with big giants. But they focused on providing banking services online to their customers. So they invested in those technologies and made sure the services that the customer needed are predominantly available, everything online. That means about up to 90% of what people needed to do, they could do that online. So they could service their customers well with very minimal infrastructure, with actually about 10% of the infrastructure, they were able to service all of their customers compared to traditional banks. So what they were able to do with that business model and using internet as the basic fundamental infrastructure with which they were delivering their services, they were able to be very profitable and grow and offer better experience to their customers. And now they are the largest bank in China until recently. So anybody can guess which is the largest bank today in China? What is that? Okay. So no, actually you're not mistaken. It is something that you cannot even probably imagine. It's Alibaba. So Alibaba is like Yahoo, right, or Flipkart. You can go there. You can get 5 products and services, and you do the e-commerce. And what people do is they also have payment services. So you park your money there, and then you can buy goods and services through the Alibaba website. So what Alibaba did is they just said, well, for the leftover money that you have with us, we're going to start paying you interest. And that's how it all started. And now they're paying so much interest that everybody is parking all of their savings in Alibaba. So now they have become a very disruptive force against established banks, and even all of the traditional banking system that we know, everyone is scared, and they're already displaced to a large extent. So that is the power of internet. The second trend that we see is, it's all about mobility, right? How mobile technologies are helping people as well as the enterprises. And because it is making people to move around and do things that they normally would not be able to do, it is creating boundless opportunities. And for the enterprises, it is creating what is called as a borderless enterprise, where you can be a very small startup and you can still compete with a big giant, global giant. And as a result, what's happening is the domestic market or the niche market is actually shrinking. And everything is global, and big companies can compete with small companies and vice versa, and it's changing the whole landscape. So mobility is another driving thing, the big four that is driving the digital society. The third trend is what we call as a new connected and shared wisdom. So until now, we are seeing what is called as the individual wisdom, where the people have intelligence and we use that intelligence to do meaningful things. And then there was what is called as a collective wisdom, where you get a group of people, and if you share your ideas together, you can actually make better decisions and better products and services, right? So you put a lot of people together and exchange ideas and then make that wisdom better and more meaningful. Now, to augment that, we had computer systems that would actually do some analysis and analytics, and we were actually using computers as a mechanism to augment the collective wisdom that we used to deal with. But the latest trend is what is known as a systemic wisdom, which is an integration of human wisdom, collective wisdom, as well as intelligence that the machines can generate in a connected world, where what you're really dealing with is the world's wisdom in a much bigger scope than what we can imagine. To give you an idea, when you search in the Google, whatever you get, the results is actually the result of the systemic wisdom. It's the wisdom of the whole world, where everyone around the world is contributing to the intelligence and the data, and they're adding value wherein it is made available in a seamless way for the end users. So that is just one small example of how the evolution of wisdom is taking shape and how it is affecting the digital society. The next one is the social media. We have seen everybody using social media nowadays, and whether it's Facebook or WhatsApp or whatnot, and it's bringing the people together. It's making the world smaller. So back in 2012, we saw how Gangnam Style dance became a global phenomenon within a matter of 3 months. That was unheard of before. The social media is changing the governments. Its ability it has the power to reach to so many people so quickly and generate opinions and get people to drive towards certain things that was never imagined before. So clearly, social media is another major factor that is driving the digitalization process and is affecting us in more than one ways. So what is the fundamental thing that is actually the force behind all of these trends that we just saw? Fundamentally, if you really look at it and analyze it, you will understand that people look for better user experience. So, and in pursuit of the user experience, there are certain things that are really making people realize that dream, which is whether it is speed, reality, or simplicity, or freedom. To give you an example, the ability to move and still be able to do your work is giving you the freedom, and yet you're able to service whatever the work that you're doing. You don't necessarily have to sit in your office or home and do whatever the task that you're trying to do. So that is, your desire for freedom is giving you much more better user experience and much more experience that you would appreciate. So ability to share things, whether it is in social media or any other medium, is also giving you a better feeling, because you're able to share what you want and feel to all the people that you want to be sharing your information with. So now, how do we embrace these types of challenges? Every challenge also comes with opportunity, and vice versa. Every opportunity also comes with a challenge. So the first thing that we need to be aware of is that we need to change the mindset and the thought process towards the changes that are taking place. If people look at the changes as a threat, then they're only embracing the past. If you look at it as an opportunity, then you are actually embracing the future. For example, when the steam engine came, or when the railways came, if you look at that as a threat, the conventional transportation mechanism, people who are doing the transport business at that point in time, they could be feeling the railways is a threat to their business. But then if you look at the after effects as to what it has been able to do and transport a lot of people and goods for even now, you realize what type of opportunity it created. Everything is like that. So every change is like that. So you have to look at it from a more of an opportunity perspective rather than from a threat perspective. The second one is the digital restructuring that is taking place that we need to be willing to embrace. The fundamental thing that we have to be aware of is the business transformation that is essential to keep pace with the changes that is happening around us. And the information communication technology infrastructure is very much foundation and essential and a key thing that is driving the business transformation. See, Gartner has identified the 5 different levels that you are able to see in the slide as the mechanism in which you can gauge the company's transformation progress. So most people actually fall in the bottom 2, and the goal should always be at the top to be able to innovate and initiate the changes. So when you look at the fundamental things behind how to do the transformation of the ICT infrastructure, I'd just like to point out a couple of things. One is that we should be taking care of the networks. From a network perspective, we need to change that from a dumb pipe to a smart pipe, right? Where you can put in a lot of intelligence, technologies like SDN, network function virtualization. So these are the types of things that needs to be embraced, and we need to put a lot more intelligence into every network element so that you can virtualize all these networks and make it a soft pipe rather than a hard pipe. The second one is you need to embrace what is called as the broadband, and make sure that you develop applications on top of the broadband that are more useful and efficient and that scales at the internet scale. So by leveraging these types of fundamental ICT technologies and continuing to innovate, we can actually accelerate the process of business transformation because you will have the right tool sets to be able to deal with it. So I'm going to browse through some of these things because I want to really quickly get down into the cyber security aspects. So as a CIO, people are always under pressure because there is a security threats, there's a regulatory pressure, there's a budget pressure, there's the whole business infrastructure that they need to support, and the enterprise needs to evolve and continuously need to change, and they need to be supported. And they deal with the distributed, federated type of enterprises that needs to extend and are continuing to get virtual, more and more virtual. So, what are the, to summarize the emerging technology trends in the near future? So, this is actually taken from 2011 to 15. So, there is a mobile broadband, home network, cloud computing, Internet of Things. All of these things are currently happening things, and they are going to drive so many internet users, or so many broadband users, so many social network users, so many business users into the ecosystem that is just mind-boggling. So, what are the types of the initiatives the enterprises are currently taking? I'm just going to browse through this. There's a smart city initiative. Many of you are already aware. I'm not going to go into the details. There's a smart energy. There's a smart grid, smart transportation, and the list goes on and on. So everything is trying to become smarter and better, intelligent. These are the types of systems. There's a number of initiatives. I'm sure all of the enterprises are currently undertaking in these types of categories. So when you look at the cybersecurity angle, you look at all types of, people call bots, zombies, trojans, worms, virus, and then I'm sure there's a number of other names given to it, which are actually the type of things that tries to get into your machine, get into your system, get into your network, and tries to cause damage, whether it's in the form of spam or phishing or thefts or extortion, whatnot. So if you look at the numbers, right, 38% of the mobile users had experienced cybercrime, and 66% of the mobile apps contained vulnerabilities that are actually dangerous. So Android malware increased by 197% in the last 2 years, and mobile malware increased by 167%. So you can actually get some idea as to what types of problems that are out there and what we need to be aware of it, especially in the context of the digital society that you just went through, and the society that we currently live in. So all are vulnerable. Trust no one. In fact, from a security standpoint at Huawei, that's what we believe in. We trust no one. That's a fundamental concept with which the entire security policy is defined. So Android, Windows, and iOS operating systems are more vulnerable than previously thought. These are some of the quotes that I'm actually quoting here. Most corporates have failed to protect themselves from the cyber criminals. You've seen many of these examples, like in the case of Target, Gmail, Chase, H&R Block, Sony. This is just a tip of the iceberg. Every major corporations are compromised. They are not fully protecting the way we thought that they would, right? The defense industry leaders believe cybersecurity is already the top threat to national security. So the next war that is going to happen is going to be a cyber war. It's not going to be a conventional war. That's what most people believe, at least if not open, in private. Cybercrime and terrorism is a huge threat to people, corporations, and government. So where are these threats coming from? So majority of the times, in a significant number of cases, we see it's coming from outside. Maybe from outside of the country. Countries like China or Russia, even United States, are known for launching cyber attacks. A lot of times when you look at the enterprises, there is an insider misuse, or there is a negligent insider. Now people don't know what they're doing, they're complacent. So they end up giving out information that they would not be otherwise be giving. And then cyber espionage. Like, you see the guy in the picture? Anybody recognize him? Yeah. So is he a hero or a traitor? That's a debate that's going on. I don't think there's any conclusive conclusions on that. A lot of people think he's a hero. There's also a lot of people who think he's a traitor to their nation. So, the fundamentally monetization of the data that we are dealing with is making a fraud attractive to a lot of people. So, what should you be worried about? You should be worried about hackers who are mostly foreign. A lot of hacking happens from foreign countries. Doesn't mean that you should trust everybody domestically, but it's a fact. A lot of the attacks and hacking happens from outside of our country, for any country for that matter. So, would you be trusting your government? So, no, because the government is trying to do a lot of things that is getting to the nerve of people. They are trying to figure out what everybody is doing, where they are spending their money, who they are talking to, all of those things. It actually, there's a whole lot of debate that's happening, mostly in the United States, where people are worried about what the government is doing to their own citizens. Physical security is very important, which is often overlooked. You leave your mobile on a table somewhere in a restaurant and you forget it. Somebody gets hold of your mobile, they pretty much get everything about you that they need to know, from your emails to perhaps your bank information and whatnot. Networks are vulnerable. Internet service providers, they know everything about you. An operator knows who you are, who you normally talk to, where you are at any given point in time, and what you're doing. And guess what? If they really want, they can sell all of this information to who knows, whether they are right people or bad people. So, if you're having a problem with your ISP provider, or if you think they're not reputable people, you probably shouldn't be doing business with them. Passwords, of course, you need to make sure to protect your password in an appropriate way. Google, should you be worried about them?
Of course.
They know everything what you're doing. With Google Maps, they can track where you're traveling. They can actually give you a lot of useful information as to if there's any traffic jam on your way or not already. But then if you look at the negative side of that, they know who you are, what you're doing, where you are at, everything they know. And if they sell that, it's an advertisement company, right? Google is basically their core business is online ads.